Hi everybody, I'm Joey Paul and I'm an indie author and welcome back to my channel. I write young adult fiction across a variety of genres, and if you think that might interest you, then think about subscribing below. So today I'm going to do what I sometimes do, which is answer questions from you guys. I have 10 questions and a bonus one, and I'm just going to jump right to it. Number 1, what's your favourite genre to read? It really does depend, it goes from time to romance, or to crime mystery, or to thrillers, or to paranormal. It really just depends what I'm in the mood for at that time. I do a lot of rereading. I'm very much a rereader. I have at least 2 series that I read every single year, and they're both crime mystery ones. But I also have other series that I dip into every so often, and again, they're crime mystery ones. So I guess going from that, you would think it's probably crime mystery. I really don't like pinning myself down to just one genre. I like young adult, I like pretty much all the genres, except maybe epic fantasy, just because I cannot get into it. I've tried, it just goes right over my head, and yeah, I don't understand it. But if I had to pick, probably crime mystery, though I am fond of romance, so yeah, it just depends. Number 2, have you ever felt like you have a story you want to tell but don't know if now is the right time to write it? Yes and no, in that because I've got such a big backlog of books behind me, I can pretty much write whatever I want now and it won't hit the streets for about 8 years, depending on how things go. So even if I don't feel like it's not the right time right now for that to be out in the public, I can still write it, and then when the time comes to think about publishing, I can decide whether or not the market is right for it. So yes, sometimes, but usually I ignore that. Number 3, will you be doing more disability videos? Yes, I have one coming later this month. I also have a playlist of basically all things disabled. I will link that up in the cards. But basically, I like doing the disability videos, but I don't want them to be the only thing I do. I know they get a lot of views and I know people really enjoy them, but I don't want to just talk about disability and disabled writing and all of that stuff. I have several series that I touch on, the While Chronically Ill one, which again I have more coming for that, and then just writing disabled characters, disabled facts, stuff like that. I've pretty much covered what I want to cover, but I will continue to come up with new topics. Number 4, do you have a go-to standalone of yours that you'd recommend to someone just finding your work? This one is a hard one because I'm not just one type of genre author. It really does depend on what that person is looking for. If they're looking for crime mystery, which the majority of my standalones are in some form, then I would probably recommend Destination Unknown, Walk a Mile, or It's Not Always Rainbows, just because they're my later books and I really love them. And It's Not Always Rainbows is out on audiobook, which you can find at the link below. But I don't really think there's one standalone that I'd say, oh yes, this is going to tell you all about the way I write, because I write so many different genres. I mean, I write usually crime mystery, paranormal, dystopian, or urban fantasy, but there are some other ones in there as well that don't get as many mentions. It would just depend on what that reader personally wants to read, and then I would do the recommendation. Number 5, how did you get so organised? Luck. No, it was more, I've always been organised from a very young age, so even though when I became disabled that kind of all fell by the wayside, it's now become something where I use it to work alongside my disability, in the fact that because I'm so organised, I know how long a video is going to take, I know how long revisions will take, I know how long a chapter will take, and this is all usually because obviously there are some outliers, so I'm able to plan my day around that and work out what I need to do around that. But getting organised is part of who I am. It's a part of my personality. I've always been that way. At school I had the colour-coded pens. When I had to do my exams I had a colour-coded revision timetable and stuff like that. So I've always been organised, and it's really only helped me as time has gone on. So yeah, I don't really have advice on how to get organised if that's not how your brain works, because I don't think you should force yourself to do something that doesn't work for you. But I don't know, basically, is the answer. Number 6, do you have any books you've shelved that you'll publish one day? If you mean shelved as in unfinished, no. I have a couple that I've shelved, but I will A, not finish writing them, and B, they will never see the light of day because the story's just out there, the plot's not there. But do you mean shelved as in finished but haven't published and stuff? Then yeah, I do. I have loads. But they're all planning to be published. It's just taking time to get there. But shelved and not finished and maybe going back to one day, no, I don't have any of those. Number 7, why only 1 book this year? Will you ever go back to 2? Simply because I didn't want to have uneven numbers, and if I'd gone to 2 this year, I would have had 23 rather than 22, and that bugs me. I don't know why, it's just something that's always been that way. And also I wanted that extra time to get the books that come after in a good state for revisions and edits and all of that. I do plan to go back to 2 books next year. I've booked my editor for both, so that's still on the plans. It's just whether or not things work out that way. Number 8, have you switched editors for good now? Yes, I will be working with Robert from Story Detective as my editor pretty much in the main now, unless things change with him or with my work schedule or his work schedule. But yes, that's basically who I'm using as an editor, and simply because my other editor got another job, retrained in a different field, and has no time to do edits anymore, and that's fine and valid. So I'm now working with Robert. Number 9, Loved Invisible, when's the sequel coming? It's due to be released next May. I think it's May anyway. So it goes to the editor in November. So this time next year, I will be gearing up for release. It is with the sensitivity readers as I speak now, and they have so far said good things. So I'm hoping that I can get it into shape and then it will go to the editor in November, and then the release schedule will start. Number 10, do you have any books you regret publishing? This is a question that I get in some way or form a lot. And the answer is no, not really. There are no books that I regret publishing in that I regret that they're out there, because if that was the case, I would unpublish them, which I know is not always an option for TradPub, but for IndiePub, you can take your books off sale at any time you want. I don't have any books that I sit there and I think I really don't want that one tied to my name. I have some that I look back on because I'm doing audiobooks at the moment. I'm having to listen to every single chapter. And so obviously some of these books I haven't read in decades, and I'm listening to them again and it's just like, oh, okay. But none of them are making me think, I don't want this book on the shelves. There's nostalgia attached to it. There's a smile every so often when I think, yeah, that's a good thing. So would I rewrite them differently now? Yes, but I've also grown as a writer since then. I've changed how I do things, and that's how writing works. You do look at your earlier work and you think, okay, I could write that better now, or at least I hope you do, and that's just the way it goes. But there are no books that I sit there and think, I really wish I hadn't published that, because if that was the case, I would remove them from the shelves. And the bonus question, why do you keep a writing log? So I got asked this a lot, both offline and on, is, why do you do a writing log? Because it's one of my goals for the year usually, to keep up with my writing log. People are kind of like, yeah, okay, but why? And my answer is simply that it helps me. So what I do is I have a little notebook. I would reach for it, but there is a tortellini sat on it right now. And I will sit down, and when I write the date, I write how much I wrote what project it was on, and then I record a few other details. And the reason for that is because it helps me when it comes to revisions, because I track my pain and because I track other things. It helps me work out where I was when I wrote this chapter. So if something's happening in it that I think, hang on a minute, is this foreshadowing for, because I pants, so is it foreshadowing for later in the book? Do I need to think about this, or could it have been influenced by other factors? And it really does help me. So that's why I keep a writing log, and I've kept up with it for many, many years. I'm on my 3rd writing log now, because it doesn't take up much space, and they're not small books. So yeah, that's why I keep a writing log. So there we go. Those are my 11 answers to 11 of your questions. If you ever have a question for me, you can shoot it to me on social media and I will probably answer it there and then. But sometimes I hoard them for videos like this. So yeah, what's your favourite genre to read? Because I know that when people ask me that, my mind goes blank and I'm just like, no, I can't choose. But let me know in the comments down below. So that's all I've got time for today. If you want to support my channel, you can comment, like, or subscribe. I post new videos on Thursdays. You can find me all over social media, and my books are available everywhere, and you can also sign up for my newsletter. And don't forget to pick up Invisible, which is the first in a young adult dystopian quartet. And also, don't forget to grab a ticket for Wonderland in Nottingham in July 2025, where I'll be signing books. All the links for which are listed below. Thanks for watching, and remember to keep writing. Bye.